the second most powerful man in the United States government, and he just walked into a room that most politicians in his party wouldn't dare enter. The questions waiting for him weren't soft. They weren't polite. And the man asking them had one thing most Washington interviewers don't: a live audience with no patience for spin. What happened next was something you rarely see in American politics. A sitting vice president willing to sit with the opposition, defend the indefensible, and, just maybe, say something real. Quietly, but it landed. The people on his side of the aisle, the Democrats, the progressives, they don't show up. Vance was here. That mattered. But the pleasantries weren't going to last long, because Maher had a list, and at the top of it was the one foreign policy story that wasn't done with Iran, because buried in Vance's answer was a claim that deserved a harder look. He said the nuclear program had been destroyed. Maher pushed back, politely but precisely. The whole argument for military action had been built on the promise of verification. Childless cat ladies was Maher reaching back to one of Vance's most memorable public stumbles, a comment that generated enormous backlash and one that Vance eventually addressed head-on. Maher's point was simple. That kind of accountability had worked before. He was asking Vance to do it again, on immigration, on ICE, on the images that had made even some conservatives uncomfortable. Vance didn't take it. Party lines. The pendulum doesn't swing, it crashes. Every overcorrection produces a counter-overcorrection. The center keeps getting punished for existing. Maher pushed this further, pointing to the Pentagon, to DEI rollbacks, to Pete Hegseth. And here, Vance pushed back hard.
Swing elections.
And then came the ask. The one Maher had clearly been building toward, the one that, if Vance could answer it honestly, might actually mean something. It was about 2020, about the binary that Maher said had to end. Either we won or they cheated. He wanted Vance to say plainly, that era is over. But here's the thing about this interview. The part that was easiest to overlook, the part that got less airtime than Iran or immigration, may have been the most genuinely revealing. Because after all the politics, after the sparring and the deflections, Bill Maher asked JD Vance about men who had traded positions. Maher started Catholic, left the faith, never came back. Vance started nowhere in particular, raised Baptist, drifted, doubted, and arrived at Catholicism in adulthood, by choice, with intention. His book is about that journey. And unlike most political memoirs built around the author's greatness, this one is about searching for something that cannot be won. Stability, beauty. The sense that in a world where everything is being disrupted and optimized and rebuilt, some people are walking toward the one institution that refuses to pretend this year's truth replaces last century's. That's not a political argument. That's something older. And it's something a growing number of people, young people especially, have been quietly feeling their way toward. The United States sat in a room full of people who mostly didn't vote for him. He answered questions he could have easily avoided. He defended his boss. He held the line on elections, on immigration, on the Pentagon. None of that was a surprise, but the book, about grace and ambition and wanting something bigger than a career, that part felt like it came from somewhere real. Whether it changes any minds is a different question. JD Vance is betting on 2028. Bill Maher is watching. And the people stuck in the middle, tired of both sides, waiting for someone to just land there for once, they're still waiting.